Morning, peoples. Oh, actually, lunchtime. 1 o'clock. Afternoon, peoples. Witter Quilt 8. How's that? That was a bit of a challenge. It has to be said because of the colours. I think I spoke about this last week when I was wittering. How to put all that together and to make it okay, for want of a better expression. We'd done the green around the block, hadn't we? Which I'd hoped would sort of pull it together and calm it down a bit. I think it's worked. It's obviously still bright because it's bright and that's me, isn't it? But what I've done, we've done all the greens around. I'm looking actually at the camera because I can see the quilt in here, and so I'm sort of looking at that as my guide. So I'm sorry if I'm looking at it a bit strangely. So we did 2 inch all around each of the blocks, which brought them up a size, but still left us with 4 that were smaller than the others. So what I basically did was I laid them into a square and pushed them outwards, if that makes sense, so that, here we go, there's the pattern, so that we got big ones, corners and centre, and then the small ones I brought them out to equal the sides of the large ones, which gave us a bigger gap in the middle. But then that's allowed me to give you a more focal central point. Yeah, so we've done all the greens and we've got a pile of blocks, and then what we've done, we've put 2 inch squares down the sides of the little blocks, so each side, which has made them the right width, but then they're not long enough. So there's 4 inch squares across the other sides that meet to the centre. What I have done with those is that I've repeated the centre ones to be all the same. And the fabric choice for that was really more a case of that's the fabric I had left, so that's what got used. I had a lot of this nice bright stripy, so I made the stripes come central, all right, so that actually that hopefully takes your eyes into the whizzy thing in the centre. All right, so we've got basically 2 inch squares all the way down each side, 4 inch across the centre, and on each of the 4 smaller ones I've done that, so that then brings that all in and ties it. And then it was like, well, what do I do around the outside edge? Normally we'd put a border or something, and mine has had to go with what fabric have I got left. So I've done 2 inch squares all the way round, except for one section in the centre of each of the outside strips, borders, whatever you want to call it, because I still had a little bit of that stripy left. So again, I've angled it so the design's coming inwards into the centre of your block, and I've put a little longer piece on each side. There's no real plan as to what went where, except for that central bit. What I will say that I did do consciously was that I had daisies in the corners and at the ends, so that all sort of tied in, and any one that was stripy all had to aim inwards. Okay, so that was sort of it. So that's your Witter Quilt 8. I can't believe we finished that. I really can't. So there we are. Now I was thinking I'll put the pattern for that, the layout, over on Patchwork Witterings on Facebook in the group for everybody, all right, with a photo, so that, and a bit of an explanation as to what and sizes and things, so that you can actually construct that, if indeed that's how you want to put yours together. You play around, do what suits you. You could make it slightly bigger, put another border on, whatever you want to do. Tell me piano key, so you could have a wider stripy border, or all sorts of things you could do with that, but I think it's pretty well overpowering as it is, and that's enough as far as I'm concerned. I actually quite like it. At one point I was a bit, oh, what have I done? How the hell is this going to come together? Well, that's how it's come together, and I quite like it now. So that will be in the pile to go up to Sarah at Ambleside Quilting to be done, to long arm it. Yeah, so there we go. No doubt that will be a challenge to her. She calls my quilt tops challenges for some reason. I don't quite know why. Don't understand it myself. I'd have thought, you know, most people's quilts look like mine. What are we going to do in future? Now, I thought the sun's shining, we're all getting to do a little bit more, we're going out and about and doing, and we don't necessarily want to be doing maybe great big quilts like that. So I was wondering, what do you reckon on some postcards? Does that sound like a plan? We'll do some postcards. Maybe we'll do another sort of a little technique each week as a postcard. And then you can be sending them to people. You can send them to me if you like, I don't mind. I think that would be a real good thing perhaps to play with. So next week, I don't know if this is going to work, but I will try and have a more in-depth, this is how we do a postcard, or how I do a postcard, because there's loads of ways of doing them. There really is. The actual construction of it, what we put on them as the picture or the topic or the whatever you want to call it, could be absolutely anything. So I'm thinking, do you know what, we can do loads of these. So each week we could have a different postcard in a different technique or a different design or a different fabric or a different something. And then you could use it as a postcard and post it out to somebody, which I thought was really cool, considering we're spending all of our time saying hello to everyone, making sure everybody's all right. So that could be good. Or we could keep them as nice small little, because we'll do 5x7, so nice little ones like that. And we could put them all together as a little wall hanging. That might be nice. So you don't actually have to use them as a postcard, but we will do all sorts of different designs and plays on them. How's that? Does that sound like a plan, everybody? I quite like the idea that it's achievable, I feel, for everybody. You're not adding to your quilt stash. I've got that many quilts, you wouldn't believe it, that many. I feel a need to destash some of them at some point soon. Watch this space, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I think that's a doable thing. And then if you really like what you're doing, you could do lots of them and send them to all your friends, couldn't you? There we go. So Witter Quilt 8, sun shining in Cornwall. Tom sat outside the door, which is why I keep looking that way. He don't really want to come in, he's just looking at me in case he's going to get fed again. That'll be what that is. And it's all very lovely. I think it's all excitements, because a lot of us have had or coming up for second jabs. We're being allowed to move around a little bit. There looks like there may or may not be a few quilt exhibitions. I'm still in two minds about all of them, I have to say. Yeah, but it's all good. So yeah, happiness, loveliness, and my panic of the last few weeks has subsided somewhat, and it's now being replaced with nerves, for want of a better expression. I've done all my samples and kits and patterns and everything that's going to go onto the TV. Now, it used to be called Chandra, it's now called Craftstoretv, in case you're wondering. And I'm on there on the 9th of May. Apparently, I think they start advertising it any day now. They've had all my gear, so they know what I'm bringing on. So in some ways it's exciting, in other ways it's absolutely petrifying to me. I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to be. Sat here talking to you, to my phone, is easy. I can delete it, I've said this before. But how I'm going to be when I actually have to do something live that isn't actually a class or a workshop is a bit scary. So watch this space. So we've got 8 new designs, completely new designs, that are going to be cushions and panels and all sorts of things. And we've got another one that is a new quilt. And we've got another one that is an old quilt been redone for everybody. And we've got loads of templates. We've got all sorts of stuff coming on. And Abby has a bundle of nerves. It'll be really quite interesting. Quite interesting. So that's what I've been up to. And as I say, I'm a little bit more relaxed about it all now. Now that it's all been shipped off and it's got to happen. Has to happen. It's all in motion. Scary. So actually, coming back to Witters, it means that postcards actually are a good thing, because I don't want to let you all down and not be able to keep up and make things for you. And as I say previously, I'm going to aim at once a week for a still for a Witter. And I think we'll do, as I say, postcards, all sorts of lovely things we can do with them, and we can play around with different techniques and things that are achievable for everybody. Very exciting. Right, okay, so there's 3 things as normal. Tidying. Yeah, right. Exercise. Do you know what? The sun's out there, it's lovely. I've been around the garden several times. I might have to go out for a proper wandering in a minute, because it's really quite nice. And the third one, say hello to everybody, make sure everyone's all right. Yeah, there's a few out there that are still having problems. Yeah, I know a couple of my friends, and one certainly. All of this strangeness for the last year is taking its toll on some people, more so than others. I think we've all sort of gone through it a bit. Do make sure that you're in touch with them and that they're okay and everything's. I've had a surprise this week, 2 different separate occasions, 2 totally different types of friends that have really needed some help. Happy to have done and obliged and all the rest of it, but not the ones that I was expecting. So bear that in mind. Just check on everybody. Just because we've got a hard posh is the wrong one, dominant characters maybe sometimes, or loud personalities, or however you want to describe, don't assume that everything's actually as you see it. Yeah, so there we go. So check in with everybody. Now that's me done for this week. Pattern over on Patchwork Wishings on Facebook, and all that's left for me to say is really have a lovely week. Sunshine's doing nice things. Hopefully it's nice where you are. And be lovely.